Hello everyone and welcome to the FishRoomWA. Sorry I haven't posted a video in a while. I've been really busy building this new bristlenose breeding rack. So I'm going to be showing you around a little bit what's happened in the fish room since I've been gone. And yeah, just a little update. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so I would say about 3 to 4 weeks ago, I started to commission the build of my new rack in my fish room. So this rack is going to be for breeding bristlenose. So there's going to be 4 tanks on it. So a tank here, there, along with a low buoy going along the top. So I started building this, like I said, about a month ago, and I've been building the tanks myself. So me and my dad have been building all the tanks you see here, which has been a very interesting process. So it did save me a ton of money. So it's definitely, if you can find someone who can do glass for you cheap and you build them yourself, it can definitely shave off some of the costs of setting up a rack. So the reason this has been taking so long, so I was expecting this to be fully set up and fish in by now, but as I was testing all the tanks were built, and I was testing them to make sure the silicone would hold, there's no leakages. It came down to the fish room just to make sure everything was all good, and one of the tanks, so this tank here, had actually broken, so the base had just split and water just flooded all along the floor everywhere. So 150 litres just gone. So that was really frustrating because that put me back, because then I had to make sure that this tank wasn't going to do the same thing, and that these tanks are going to do the same thing. So it put me back a little bit. So I'll show you the tank. So this is the tank over here. So you can see it's split. So you can see that right here. It's split right along the center from that side all the way across. So that's what happened. So that kind of slowed down the process. But I figured out the problem and I sorted it out. So the problem was actually the matting wasn't spongy enough, wasn't supportive enough, so the base actually fractured because the matting didn't give enough for it. So now I figured out the solution. I'm filled up all the tanks, they're all doing good. I'm filling up this one this afternoon. And I'm glad that this is out of the way and I can start moving on to making some more YouTube videos and breeding fish. But just a little quick rundown of what's going to be happening on this rack. So this is going to be for my colony of leopard frog plecos, my L134s. So I'm going to have a colony of 10 in there. In this tank, I'm going to have my colony of peppermint bristlenose that I'll show you later on this video. I'm going to have some albino longfin pairs in here. And then in this one, I'm going to have some lemon blue eye short fins, breeding colony. So this is all going to be for breeding bristlenose. Well, except for that one, it's still a pleco breeder. So it's going to be bristlenose / plecos. So the whole point of this rack is to be really low maintenance. It's got overflow, so it's all kind of automated. So you got all the water flowing down. So it's all automated, so minimum effort for me. And here, this is just my wholesale. So I can just really pump out tons of babies and then just move them on to wholesalers real quick, just to fund the fish room and let me move on with some other projects. So I'll show you what else is going on in the fish room. So not much in these two, that's just my super long fins. My female passed away in there, which was really annoying. So they bred, but then the female passed away. So I've just bought a sub-adult female that I'm growing out to breed with him. And then down here, just got my hillstream loaches, so you won't be able to see them. They're very skittish. So yeah, I've got 5 hillstreams in there that I'm growing up to breed in the future. And then up here, I've got a ton of albino longfin / shortfin fries. So you see, there's a longfin up there, and then there's some short fins here for focus. So yeah, some short fins here. So yeah, I've been just producing tons. I've even got some more wrigglers down here. So these are albino longfins. The dad of these guys decided that he will just start kicking eggs out. So I'm having to hatch them myself, which is, I find with albinos surprisingly easy. I've had like no fungusing of eggs. The fry all hatching, they're all super healthy. As you can see, all the fry in here I've hatched and raised myself from eggs. And then in this tank, I was trying something out with some red neon blue eyes, but that didn't pan out. So I'll show you in here. So yeah, this rack is my grout rack. So this is my like kind of like ram slash blue eye grout rack. So I've got my rams up here. So this is my golden rams. They think I'm gonna feed them. They love food. So yeah, so I've just got like a tank full of those guys. This is my lemon blue eye, sorry, not lemon blue eye. This is my blue eye grow out. So I've got a mix of spotted blue eyes, fricata blue eyes, and red neon blue eyes in here. And then I'm just growing out, you know, just hatching out growing out some soup reds. And then down here, I used to have a ton of golden rams, but I've sold all these to the shops, which is good make way for some new grow outs. And then I'm holding my colony of albino longfins down here. So you see this is a male here, and then there's a female under there. Yes, I'm just growing these guys out in here till they can like move across into that tank. And then yeah, what else? I've just hatched out another batch of golden rams, so you might not be able to see. Right at the back in full focus, there's some wrigglers along the base. Yeah, so these guys hatched out yesterday afternoon, and they're doing really well. So excited to see how that batch goes. I've got even more golden rams in here. I got a good, sorry for focus. Got a good 100 in there. They're growing out. These guys are going to be moved into that 4-foot I was telling you guys about. So they're going to be going down there. And then I've got even more golden rams in here. Excuse the tank. This is going to clean this weekend. But yeah, I've got even more in here that are finishing growing out. And they're going to go up here once this batch sells out. And this is where I'm holding my pair of lemon blue eye short fins. So you can actually see, which is a big sign, they've actually bred. So you can see the focus, you'll see all the eggs on the bottom. So this is a new male. He's still getting used to it. You can see he's had successful frying here, but he's a little bit of an egg kicker. So he'll kick some of the eggs out, but not all of them. So he's still on eggs in the back of that cave, but he kicks a couple of them out when the female's laying them. He's really weird, but he still, you know, has some good babies. So I'm gonna be excited for when these guys grow up. This is my first batch of lemon blue eyes in the fish room, so it's gonna be exciting to see how they grow up. And then here I've got my soup red producing tank. So that's my male there. And then a ton of fry. Like, these guys are absolute rabbits when it comes to breeding. They do not stop. Like, they're just everywhere. Yeah, this guy's a really good dad, lovely color. I've been breeding absolute tons of them. Yeah, so that's mostly like this rack. We'll come down, and then this is my leopard frog colony. It's like sub-adult leopard frog colony. So you can see, I've been growing these guys out for about 1.5 years. They're really beautiful. I think, like, yeah, my favorite fish I got in the fish room at the moment. Really beautiful. So yeah, they're going to be moving into a bigger tank. So they're being held in an 80 litre at the moment. Focus. With some of my fricata breeding colony. Yeah, so these guys just been kind of, well, not held, but, you know, growing out in here, but now they need a bigger tank to breed. So I'm going to be moving them across into that tank. Oh, sorry, the tank up from there. And then they can start breeding in there. And then across from them, I've got this is my ram breeder. So this is where my golden ram babies have come from. So you can see these are the parents. Really beautiful female, if the camera will focus. Really beautiful female there. And then some gorgeous males down here. So these guys are like I've figured out with goldens, or especially these goldens, the best way to breed them is not in pairs, but actually just taking, I think there's about 6 pairs in here, 6 to 8 pairs, chucking them in a 4-foot, putting, you know, little spawning sites around, and they breed much better than pairs. I do have to pull the eggs and, you know, hatch them myself, but I found they breed more regularly and more consistently with other fish in the tank, so not just being a pair. Like the territorial, like being territorial, the dominance between the males just gets them breeding more. and they're also in here in my peppermint breeding colony. So yeah, these guys are getting moved into a new tank because I haven't had any luck breeding them in here, probably because the tank's a little bit too hot because they're breeding the rams. So I'm going to be moving these guys over into their own tank so they can start producing a ton of babies. Yeah, so that's mostly what's been going on in here. Not much else, just breeding, you know, setting up that new rack over there. Yeah, pretty good. I'll keep you guys updated on how the rack goes. I'll probably do like a video once it's all set up. But yeah, that's mostly it. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry that I haven't been on top of making some videos, but I'll definitely get back on top of it now that other rack's nearly complete. And yeah, thanks for watching. Remember to please leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, hope you have a great day.